Great stuff. Preparing live and with lab. Okay, good stuff. Welcome, gang, to LinkedIn for Breakfast. Fantastic to have you here, and also welcome is if it is your first session with us. And there's plenty of familiar faces here. What we're going to be talking about today is six of the big what we call shifts coming into 2025 that I think is important to be aware of and important to actually start to lock into your plans for 2025. So that will be fun and it will give us a nice opportunity to just kind of throw a few ideas around and have a conversation around it. Then the last part of today is we're going to do a little bit of networking. So we're going to put you into small rooms and we're actually just going to finish the session giving you the opportunity to meet people and have a conversation around then and network with each other. So we're going to kind of end the session on networking. Which is nice because we don't get the opportunity to actually say hello and introduce ourselves to each other regularly enough on these meetings. So today will be one of those days. So look out for that at the end. So let's just hit the presentation and let's give you an idea. Well, I like to share this each time that we ever do one of these. It's just to give you what our mission is at LinkedIn for Breakfast, just so you know, because I think sometimes it's important to kind of look what my sinister plan is and why I invite you along to all of these sessions. But ultimately, we want to make this the best place on earth to learn LinkedIn for free to help you with your business development side. So that's actually the lead generation piece on LinkedIn and also your brand expansion. So getting more people to see you, recognize you, know you. We can get those two things absolutely rocking and rolling for you, then that's mission completed. And we back all that up in our LinkedIn for Breakfast school community, which if you're not a member of, you're crazy. It's free. You should jump in there. All the replays of all the stuff are in there. There's also some bespoke courses that we've created, all for free. There's only one thing in there that you can buy, which is like $40, and that's an AI building course, which is a really cool kind of additional piece. But again, it's $40, right? So it's the best place on earth to learn LinkedIn for free. And there's so much value in there. And there's so much opportunity to network with other people who are also like-minded entrepreneurs like your lovely selves. So do jump in there. It's a lot of fun. So our agenda is to look at this big six shifts for 2025 and actually thinking about why are LinkedIn making these changes or why they're giving more provenance to certain things and actually what can we do about it? And then the networking part too. So why is LinkedIn making some shifts in what they do? And really, they're kind of being forced to, in some ways, to actually make a few of these things because of things like emerging technologies, which are completely unignorable, such as AI. You just can't do anything but embrace that as much as some of us might not want to, but ultimately it's here. It's here to stay. And the social media platforms also have to reluctantly start to embrace it. So there is emerging technologies and there's also content consumption habits of users. We're becoming far more fickle in our consumption. And the platforms have to react to that because ultimately their share price is based upon that. So to go to the first ones to keep that narrative going, this is just changed or just had the provenance put on it, which is LinkedIn short form video. This is shift number one. And so the why you can tell that this is super important for LinkedIn is if you check out the LinkedIn app, like the screenshot I show there, you see at the bottom, you've got the five options, which is home, video, my network, notifications, and jobs. Video was not there a month or so ago. They've added that into their app, and you have now got a button that takes you through to essentially, if you all kind of get up your LinkedIn app now and press on the button, it takes. Oh, hello. I'm going to turn my volume down because it goes straight into it. But ultimately, it takes you through to what is essentially a Instagram stories, a TikTok-esque swipey doom scroll type functionality. Unfortunately, LinkedIn has now allowed us to doom scroll. This is me doom scrolling. And they have brought this into their app. They have brought this into the platform recently. And anything that's new that gets added into a social media platform gets higher provenance and reach. And ultimately, they are only using something which in itself is proven to increase linger time and use time on an application. And of course, the more people use an application, the more people linger on a social media platform, the higher their share price goes. And that's going to make Microsoft, who ultimately own it, very happy. And so they're basically required to kind of do this because although they probably might not like it because it's not kind of classic LinkedIn, um, they've got to because the other platforms are going to obliterate them if they don't. So what do you do about that? Well, you need to start creating content that is a short form video, and you need to think about this. Now, don't worry because you don't have to make it super polished. And in fact, there's some great free tools out there that you can use. There's Opus Cut, I think it is that we use, where you can put these subtitles over stuff. You can upload longer form videos, like if you've done a podcast as a video podcast and or a presentation, you can slice and dice that into it and get these little 1 minute videos that will is fine. And having something that's a little bit rough and ready, having you on your dog walk, talking about, some motivational stuff, reflections with a cup of tea, in the
Richard,
coffee shop at
can I ask
Starbucks.
can I ask a question?
Well, yeah, but I was in a great flow then,
I know
Jason.
you were.
You,
Apologies, I
you
put it
crack
in the
on, mate. Don't
chat.
worry.
Is it 30 seconds or a minute? The shorts.
It's however long you want to be. As soon as you go over a minute, you start to come out of the shorts and go into a longer form
Not
video. So you
right. I
don't go
thought it
into
was
that.
the normal. Sorry about that, Richard. I just had
That's
to.
all right. Don't worry. I mean, I'll get back to where I was. Don't worry. So when you're doing these shorts, luckily we know each other well, Jason. Otherwise, that's it. You'll be gone. We'll get out of here. So I'm joking. I'm joking. So when you're doing these shorts, guys, and actually, it's important to think about this. It doesn't need to be massively clever. And you can make it more clever for the as I say it's Opus Cut, by the way. Let's just to 100% Google this for you because they've got a lovely freemium model. So Opus Clip, is it, or Opus Fago uses, there you go, Opus Clip, here you go. So Opus.pro, and this is brilliant, by the way. And as I say, it's a freemium model, so you can use it. You basically upload your videos in it, and it will chop and add little things into it. All the big boys use it, and you can play, and you can probably see familiarity with all this stuff. And if you're doing interviews, you can put two different peoples on, which actually we'll be talking about in a second in terms of collaborating with people. So play with that. For the $1 million sprinters on here, or for people who have VAs, just to kind of give you an idea of how I work, is I simply just don't even get involved in that stuff. I send a WhatsApp to Fago on my team. I do a 1 minute video just to my phone in a portrait. I flick a WhatsApp to him and just say, hey, this is a reel. He then sticks the subtitles and does all the clever stuff on it. And he will then generate an AI the post to go with it. He'll use our ChatGPT to generate a AI kind of description with it. And then from there, he'll send it back to me and I'll give a thumbs up and he'll post it, right? So that's kind of the production cycle. If you're using a VA, if you're doing it yourself, obviously you can still follow the same process. You just have to do it yourself. But that's kind of how you can work with your VAs on this stuff.
Sorry, Richard, quick question. Is there
Go
any
for it,
difference
Heather.
between uploaded or live stream or streamed via StreamYard or Restream or whatever in terms of
Uploaded. This is not a live stream. This is a one
so
minute
upload
video
native content?
uploaded like you would do with Instagram or TikTok. Just upload it and play that way. Genuinely great views, great reach on it. Seeing some really kind of better results. Now, why this is important as well, and actually why the content side is probably a little bit more important than If you were thinking about on a post for let's say Instagram stories. When you're doing Instagram stories, the tendency of the user experience is that they'll just doom scroll you past and then watch the content and go from there. On LinkedIn, actually, they have a far higher usage of people using the desktop version of their platform. So you have to remember that. And so when you come down, when people are seeing this in their feed, actually, they're probably, some of them are going to be seeing it as a post in this format, not on the phone app format. And so therefore, you can see how actually it's led by the text. And then the video, this is the last one that we did, is underneath it. And so that then in itself becomes important, probably more important than Instagram, who has very little usership on a desktop version. So just remember your actual content and hashtags do really make more of a difference than others, right? So super, super important to think about there. And that's why this platform does need to be approached in a different way or with a slightly different mindset than others. Yeah, cool. So good stuff. So that's number one. Number two is AI. And as we mentioned before, AI is here to stay. So actually, what can we do to harness AI for the better on our LinkedIn? Because there's so much bland, generic crap out there that's just been regurgitated from a plain GPT. And if I can just kind of give a tiny little plug to that $40 LinkedIn Assistant program that we did recently, if you go into LinkedIn for Breakfast, we built a custom GPT. So if you go into LinkedIn Breakfast here and go to Classroom, you'll see here, this is the Create a LinkedIn AI Assistant, and it's a 4-day challenge where we build this, right? And we've actually shortened each of the videos to just a 15-minute video. We've got the longer one on there, but we built you an AI guide each day for you to go through as well, which gives you help and support. And ultimately, it also gives you an assistant builder. So, what do I mean by this? We've built a GPT conversation that will help you to complete the work you need to do to build your own custom GPT for LinkedIn, i.e., a LinkedIn assistant. And so, what does that mean? Well, you go here and you can press get started, and it will actually then ask you all the questions it needs to help you to deliver the thing that you actually need to build your own GPT. What is the end result of this? For example, this is asking for your company brand kit, is that you have something like this, which is what we call my one, which is called Sprint Assist, which is been loaded with my company brand kit, i.e. my voice, the people I'm talking to, the type of people that I don't want to talk to, the comments and stuff that I don't want the chat GPT to say. And in fact, I can show you a little bit of this. If I just show you under the hood of what this built, if I go into this, these are all the instructions that we build out within the challenge. And you can see here, it's a few different things that's briefing it. But there's some stuff around here. There's content guidelines, etc. There's how to refine things. But, oh, actually, let me just show you. It's the company kit. That wasn't what I was up showing you here. AI challenge. I was on day two. Actually, this is day one. So we help you to build out a company kit that looks like this, which will talk about your tone of the language you say. So, for example, for me, it would be like a conversationalist tone in British English, not American English. Avoid words like using exclamation marks in the end of sentences or using lots of dashes in sentences. Americanized spelling, ensure it's a British tone and style. Starting an email with, I hope this email finds you well. I want to avoid all those things. So I actually brief the GPT on that. And so when I create the custom GPT, it sits there knowing all that information. And so when my team use this, because now what I can do is press the share button and I can share this GPT with my VAs, and my VAs can then use this GPT, which is trained on my voice, right? So when I'm commenting back on people, it's going to sound like me. And if it slightly doesn't, then it's not my VA's fault. It's me not briefing the GPT. And so then I look at the GPT and then I tweak it and change it again. And because I did the 4-day challenge, understand how I can do that quickly and easily without being techie. And it's done. So do this however you want. You don't have to, do the $40 and, this is no sales pitch and it's $40, right? So it's not like I'm not trying to sell you something. But whatever you do, try and train a GPT to talk like you so you can speed up your commenting and interactions because that's going to help. You're going to speed up your DMing with people because that's going to help. Even for me, when I'm writing like long emails to people, I'll still stick it through ChatGPT because basically I just can't be bothered to click on each one and do the spell check. It will just do it all for me, right? And so that's where it's coming to. Now, why is this cool, right? Is because we can take this one step further. Through the GPT app on my phone, I can actually go onto this. And if anybody's seen this before, I use this on the school run. I say this a few times, right? I drop the kids off first because there's no talking to anybody except for screaming children on the way to school. And then once they've got out the car, I then drive back home and I'll have this in a cradle and I'll just press this one button, which is this white button. It's hard to see here. Oh, no, don't give me that. Here we go. And you'll come up with a dot, right? And you press the dot. Oh, and it will then start to talk to me. Okay, it's going to do like a weird Christmas thing. Gee, they're trying to get clever, right? Shush. It and you then talk to the dot talks back to you. So if I say, hey, I've just had an idea about actually creating a article on LinkedIn about having a conversation in my car about a GPT to be able to create articles. Could you write a LinkedIn article using emojis, etc., etc.? And I speak to it via my Sprint Assist, not the normal GPT, but via my custom GPT. So what comes out is an article trained in my voice. I've had a conversation with it, and when the conversation I'm driving, it will then speak it back to me. So I'm saying, oh, actually, no, I don't like that bit. Could you tell this personalized story of actually how I worked with XYZ company and actually they were able to achieve this result and that result because we did this special thing? And could you tell this personal story about how actually I woke up this morning and had this great idea and blah, 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 right? Suddenly now I'm putting into the bland GPT type content, one, a pre-trained GPT on my voice and tailored stories that I'm speaking into it as I'm driving and it's talking me back the article and I'm refining it as I go. It's mind-boggling, but it's bloody awesome because for a awful writing dyslexic, you know, person like me, and look, entrepreneurship, there's a higher percentage of neurodiversity than most other professions out there because we are the outside the boxers, right? So I'm sure I'm not alone in my strife for various weird and wonderful ways of being able to spell stuff and all the rest of it. It's a massively important tool to be able to get our ideas out of our heads, which we're normally quite good at talking, and into some content whilst we're driving or whilst we're walking or whilst we're at the gym or whatever, whenever the idea comes, right? It's bloody cool. We just got to embrace it. And we've got to embrace it with a little bit of that extra knowledge that takes us that step higher and keeps us above the pack who's just putting out bland, regenerated crap, right? So, that, my friends, is why AI is really, really important and why we should really be playing with it, right? And look, don't get me wrong. Once you get that, it's sitting in your GPT for when you get home, and you can always do now a heavy edit when you get home. Or if you're more of a writer, obviously, then you can use it just to maybe make some ideas come together. But that's that's all. Yes, we're talking about there. Cool. Okay, good stuff. Hope that I hope that helps. Okay, and let's go on to the next stage. There's quite a lot going on there. I see there's some stuff in the chat as well, but I won't reference it back now because we've got a few other things to go through. Is that useful? Are we see? Are we? Hang on, let's have a look at you, lovely people. Is that kind of little demo of what GPT should be and where it goes. Is that useful? Is there a few nodding? Are we all? Is it all a little bit like, oh my Jesus, um, that's a bit scary stuff. Good stuff. The machines are coming. Um, so make sure you use your please and thank yous when you're doing the GPT. Otherwise, they'll find you. Right. So number three, your profile is your landing page. Okay. So, like a website landing page, we spend ages agonizing over conversion optimization and trying to make sure that every single part of a website is perfect for your for traffic, right? You might be doing Google ads onto a website where you're paying £5 a click to get people onto a web page. So you're spending lots of time doing it. But if you look at your analytics, you can see the analytics at the bottom here. You can see that I had 1,500 profile views and 5,000 post impressions, right? So, and I appeared 500 times in search appearances. So what that means is actually there's a load of traffic there. And is my profile working hard enough to convert people into becoming leads? Or is it just a nice kind of representation of a previous career before I started doing this entrepreneurship stuff and I haven't really updated it, right? And so if you can look at your profile and go, actually, is it calling people to action? Is it asking people to go and join an event, download an ebook, attend something, be subscribed to something? What is the thing that your profile is going to ask the person to leave behind when they come to you? And there's some super important things that we can do. I'm going to talk about a few of those now, but just think about this. The epicenter of your LinkedIn world is your profile. If someone sees a nice article, they might like it and comment it and click on your profile to check you out. If you send a connection request, someone's going to do their due diligence on you before accepting it and go to your profile. If you're sending DMs to people that you haven't spoken to for ages, they'll go clicking your profile to see what you're up to these days, right? Old colleagues, new colleagues, potential opportunities, people you meet at networking, they're going to come here. And so you won't know unless you have premium, you can see who's visited your profile, and then you have to take action to go and reach out to them. You don't know if they're interested. You have no thing for them to go and actually self-select and say, hey, actually, I want to subscribe to that thing or join that thing and do it. And so think about that and make sure that when someone comes to your profile, it is 100% obvious what you want them to do, right? So one of those things could be get them to come to a LinkedIn event. LinkedIn in 2025 is going to continue to want to drive people to events. And particularly things like LinkedIn Lives, because what's that doing? It's helping people, it's helping LinkedIn to drive people into the platform to stay on the platform to consume you in their social media platform, which is then, of course, increasing engagement and linger time and use time on the platform, which is increasing their share price. So they like that. So think about those LinkedIn lines and think about running events and using the event feature on LinkedIn to be able to do that. You can do 1,000-person event invite feature for free each week. Each week you invite 1,000 person for free. In fact, actually, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, come on, guys. There's a lot of free stuff on there as well. So let me just go onto YouTube and just share the channel because I just published a post on how to do that 1,000-person invite feature. Here we go. So view channel. And if you go to videos here, my most recent one, how to live stream Zoom meetings. Oh, hang on. No, it's not that one. Oh, if you want to know how to live stream Zoom meetings, Fago, can we very quickly publish that video that we were talking about in terms of the 1,000-person? It's ready to be published. The 1,000-person invite feature per week on on LinkedIn. There's a video literally going to be published. So he's on this call, so he'll publish that now. But in the meantime, here's the link to it. Subscribe so you get a notification for it. So here we go. Paste this. There we go. Just above Jason's shameless plug. And stick the, or just below Jason's shameless plug about his LinkedIn Live. So if you look here, that's my YouTube channel. So click on that YouTube channel. I'll stick it in there again. And if you can subscribe, that'd be very kind of you. But in a second, we're going to put up a video that's a training, free training on how to do 1,000-person invite functionality. I'm sure it'll be in there in a second. And that will really help. So every week you can add 1,000 people for free to come along to an event. That's a huge amount of free exposure. And LinkedIn is trying to do that. It's trying to get more people onto it. Cool. Next thing, micro influencers, right? Why is this important? Is if you can actually start to work with other influencers and bring those influencers onto your lives, then they are going to have their knowledge and their followership and your knowledge and your followership, and those multiplier effects can really help. And if you can get into a little pod, and there is a couple of pods that we run within LinkedIn for Breakfast, one for people selling into corporate, one for people selling into small business or individuals. We do it every Tuesday lunchtime. So do jump into that. If you're not in our LinkedIn for Breakfast group, do join that. And try and find people that are talking about the same topics that you are, complementary subjects. Maybe they're selling slightly different things, but they're talking in the same space as you, and they have followerships, right? And if you can go onto a live with them, or you can share each other's content, or you can tag them within content and they can make a comment on it, the multiplier effect of having other voices that are influence or influential within that will be of a massive help to you, and you'll be of a help to them. And so by knowing that and actually opening yourself up to partnerships and opening yourself up to each other's feeds, that can be super successful on LinkedIn, because you can obviously push in there. Now, the the way you can actually go and find people you don't know is actually search for the specialism that you have, and then start to see who's showing up for that. And it can be just as simple as a basic search where you simply go onto the feed here. You might go and do you UK small business, like that as a phrase. If you want to talk to people there, you can then go and search for UK small business. You can also just do, you can look at people, or you can look at posts, right? And then you can actually then look at all filters, and you can then start to go, I just only want to look at people in the United Kingdom. And then you start to see, well, who is related to that? And then you can go through and actually see people and actually see what are they doing, what's their follower count, check them out like this. Or you can do it from a post perspective, and you can just start to do some research on actually who's showing up, what's getting the most amount of follows, right? We can then sort these different things by top match or content type, or different. There's loads of different filters that you can start to search for here. This is just in the basic version of LinkedIn as well. If you get into sales navigation, do other versions. But ultimately, we can start to see, well, actually, who is the person that's putting the videos out that work? And then you can start to see, well, which videos are performing best. And we then can start to see, okay, right, who do I want to be related to? And then you can start to look at things like, well, this guy's a public speaker, okay, and a mentor. Okay, so this person obviously is going to have a bit of a following, right? So let's start to think about this. And as you reach out, you can start to see, well, there's not much engagement there. Where's the ones that are getting great engagement? And when you find that, so this is looking like a good one, then you can start to then reach out and talk to people about actually, well, could they potentially be someone that you could work with, right? Cool. So really, really interesting. And also it'll help you to work out what content seems to be working well as well. Lovely. So think about those influencers and who else you can work with. Okay. And penultimate one here, LinkedIn newsletter. We talk about this as a free training in the group. Having a LinkedIn newsletter is vital. Why is it vital? Because it is one of those LinkedIn call to actions that is super important, super easy to get leads on. If I show you my profile here, when you scroll down my profile, you will see that there is a featured post here, which is subscribe to my newsletter. And if I click on this, it's a one-click subscribe. It's super easy for someone to go, oh, okay, I'll just subscribe to that. That's easy. And I go click on it and have a look at it. and I can then see who my subscribers are. And then when I see those subscribers, only I can see my subscribers. I can then start at the top here and actually work out, well, these are my most recent subscribers. So Basil here looks like someone that might be interesting. So I can go and open this up in a new tab. I can go onto his profile and I can then send him a connection request. So he looks like the right sort of person. Yeah, he looks all right. So I can go more, I can go press connect, and I can then add a note. And the note will be thanks for subscribing to my so how are things, right? I'll put his name in. Right. So the whole point of this is I'm saying, hey, you made the first move, Basil. You subscribe to my newsletter. Great, thank you. How are things? The likelihood of him accepting that connection request is very high. And so if I have a high connection acceptance rate, then LinkedIn is going to see me as a trusted profile, which is going to give me the gift of actually being able to send a few more than the average 100-person connection request limits that it talks about. And I can stretch that. At the moment, for me, I'm about 140, 150 that I could probably get away with each week in terms of connection requests. Whereas if you're just starting out, you haven't got a authority in this, you'll get basically stopped from sending more connections once you get to around about 100. It's not an exact figure, right? And so that is perfect for this. So this becomes your prospect list. You should be talking to these people, and then also you can start to like their comment and post on their stuff and start to be very much abundant in their world. These are your leads. These are the people that you should be going for. And then they themselves might be reaching out to you like this person, and you can just simply just accept it and then jump straight into the conversation. Now, don't accept everybody. You can see here, there's some people I'm not accepting because they're not target audience, right? So it's not actually right as a broad brush to be connected with all your subscribers of your newsletter. Just prospect the ones that hit target audience. And again, if you've got a VA working for you, just train them on which ones are target audience and make sure that you then have some preset conversations that you would start the conversation with, and then you can use your AI assistant to be able to do that. Yeah. I know it's like, oh, icky, you're using like other people to do your LinkedIn stuff. Yeah, because I'm growing a big business and I want to focus on doing stuff for clients and creating cool stuff. I don't necessarily want to be like thanking people for subscribing to my newsletter. I do want to thank them, but I don't necessarily have to press the button that sends the message that's the same message every time that says thank you for subscribing. And so sometimes it's okay to give you the gift of taking one step back and giving that task to someone else. It's not like giving the whole of your LinkedIn to someone else. It's just giving a little slice of it and breaking down the activity into little chunks and giving those chunks away to someone else so you can focus on the important stuff. Good. Like talking to yourself via your GPT in a car. Okay, so next part is, and final part, my pedigree chums, is LinkedIn analytics. Okay, so I see the key metrics to track for success that are based upon the 2025 updates is going to be engagement rate over views. Please do not get hooked on lots of people viewing your video. Please get hooked on the concept of people commenting and sharing your video and create the video with that in mind. If you're trying to create videos to get lots of views without comment, it's actually not going to have the same benefit. And the irony is, if your video goes on to get views and comments, it's going to do far better views wise anyway, right? If you just go for views but no comments, it's going to have less legs on it than if you have engagement happening on that post and people are saving it or sharing it or whatever it is. So when you produce those little videos, you can say, hey, this is a great video to send on to your salespeople because I'm going to tell them how to do this, this, and this, right? So now you've just said, share this video with some salespeople. So That's actually instructional as you say it, right? Or you might say, we've just seen this thing on LinkedIn. I'd love to know your opinion. Here's the three takeaways that I've got. Boom, 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 right? And so now you've referenced that you want their opinion. And so you're asking them to comment back, right? And I know these are only quick things. You've got to kind of get them on the top of your mind, but maybe write out a few little intros when you're thinking about your 1 minute videos, right? So just get your first line. I always think if you get your first line nailed with a few of those kind of like, hey, comment below, etc., pieces in there and an opening hook, the rest will flow if you know your subject matter well enough. Just focusing on the opening crescendo in these things is also super important. I don't think an opening crescendo is the right way of saying things because, of course, crescendo's at the end, right? But we'll go with this. Okay, so the opening line. I'll shut up in a minute. The second piece is around conversation depth, right? So when you're DMing and commenting, try and comment back to someone with a question. So if someone has comments, go, oh yeah, we think this, and go, oh great, do you think this? What about this thing? Have you thought about that? And if they then reply back, what you're doing within a commenting conversation is creating that chat happening on the post, which ultimately generates more comments and shows a depth of conversation, which then shows even more trust to the post, which then LinkedIn will reward with more reach, particularly to the person that you're talking to's second and third degree connections, which then obviously is good for you, right? So think about trying to try and get a second or third comment off someone when you get a commenter, and also in your DMs. Don't just go and DM and sell straight away, like connect and pitch. Connect, have a chat. You saw that on the newsletter thing. It was like, thanks for the newsletter. How are things? I'm trying to get conversation going. I'm not trying to go, hey, thanks for my newsletter. Here's another link to some other cool stuff, right? I want conversation to happen because that will reward me with being someone that actually uses the platform for chats, not uses the platform just to share links, which LinkedIn obviously can see all that stuff, right? Look at subscriber growth. In fact, track it over time. The more you can do to grow those subscribers, the better it will be. So look at that. Same if you've got a group on LinkedIn, and I didn't include groups in here because I still don't think it's perfect yet, but an active group is super important. So if you've got one, make sure it's just active and you get other people saying stuff. You're not just using a group just to spam the whole time, right? And then finally, post saves and shares over likes. So if people are saving and sharing a post, it is far more superior than just an odd like. So think about your content and actually how it could be more evergreen or useful for people, and that should put you in a good stead. So those are the metrics that I would really say are super important. Lots in there, guys. And look, if you want to spend a bit of time, we've got some spaces available on a free LinkedIn profile audit. This is our 2025 LinkedIn profile audit. We want to look at these things we just discussed and how they may relate to you and your business, and actually how you can implement some of these. And we do it one-to-one for free, and we go and look at your profile and we apply what I've talked about today to your profile. It's high value, about 45 minutes in length. There's loads of opportunity to get some great tips and tricks. So if you want to book that, we've got a few left for the year. So good to be able to do this now because you can actually start to implement some of these things over the Christmas break. So do jump in and grab one of those. I've put it into the chat now, just to show you there is not masses available. So let me just kind of look at this. There's not masses available, but there are some. Here we go. So there's some in here. And saying there's a couple in there. So if that's for you, go and have a look at it. But here's a good time this week, I would say. So if you can jump into those and book one of those for this week. Cool. Right, guys. So oh, okay. So Gail says crescendo just means getting louder from a muso. Okay, good. Well, there you go. It could be a crescendo to your headline. Love it. But I suppose we would have to have got started to get louder. Okay. Thank you, though. I do appreciate that. So, gang, let's take any initial questions and then we'll finish on a bit of networking. So any initial questions from the room now? Go for it, Mia.
Hello, hi there. Nice to see you. You said about the micro influencers. What would you say is like a starting point for number of followers, or I mean, you gave some comments about look at you gave some indication, look at what they're doing and look at their videos and things like that. But how many would you say is too
I
small?
think it's more looking at your profile and
Mm,
just looking at how you stand. Because if they're going to work with you, you also you've got to think that if someone's got 1 million followers, it's going to be difficult to get into
mm,
there. Whereas if someone's got a few thousand more than you, then that
mm,
actually would be where I'd go. So I'd be trying to look at people who are the rung on the ladder just ahead of me or 2 rungs ahead of me, and that's who I'd be going for. And I'd be offering to kind of set the whole thing up and help them as long as they were willing to post it to them. I would be willing to, obviously do it that way. And so it's about that kind of you want to always just stay just in the room of the people who are just ahead of you, and then
mm,
you go up to be in that room, and then you find the next room, and you just work up that way. So that's how I would do it. No, it's with this influence stuff, it's a management, not a sprint. You don't get to go and hang out with the big players before you've done your time with the
mm.
rungs below. So just start on the next rung up.
Brilliant, great tip, thank you.
No worries. Gavin. Oh, you muted, bud.
Hiya. I'm using a paid version of ChatGPT at the moment, and apparently you can train it over a period of time. It gets used to more of you ask it. I'm getting it to obviously use not the American but the English
Yeah.
sort of when it comes back to me, and I'm doing the bit on the phone as well now where I'm chatting to it and then it's sending me a message back and I'm clipping that and put it into ChatGPT and then summarizing it. So I'm getting all these little hacks. So the one with your AI assistant, the $40 one,
Yeah.
if you to do that, does that override or does it complement or is it part of your existing ChatGPT sort of paid subscription?
Yeah. So, I mean, first thing is you're a 1 million dollar sprinter, so you get it for free. It's actually in the $1 million sprint classroom for free.
Okay.
So, as a sprinter, so don't pay the $40, otherwise I just have to refund it to you.
Okay.
So jump into there, you get that totally for free, that course. The And also we have drop-ins with Nino, who's the guy who ran it. So also you get access to him over time as well, especially next year as well. The the modules, the modes that you're creating, these custom GPTs, the reason why I would say this is important to do it this way is yes, your actual GPT is learning you. So some of these nuances there, but you can give it exactly the right instructions to make sure that it ignores stuff by doing this, and it will show up here on the left-hand side. You can see here I've got a comment and response one which is just for, so this is kind of more like a large one. So comment and response pro. So this is craft professional LinkedIn comments with relaxed, confident British tone. This is for me and my team to use. And why that's good to do is because then I can share this as a link and they just go into this, right? So they don't need a premium GPT subscription. They just use the basic GPT subscription. But as I kind of I'll go into a new incognito window. Actually, it might want me to log into LinkedIn if I do this. Oh no, it just goes into here. So you can see it's in here, and it's saying sign up to chat, but ultimately it goes straight into this. And anybody using this with a free GPT tone can go and do this. In fact, I'll put this into the chat. Here you go. You can all have a little play with this if you really want to. This one is by far from perfect, but ultimately it speaks a, a little bit. This speaks in the British tone. With this, I'm trying to make a generic kind of British one for clients to use as well. So again, it comes with the caveat that one's not perfect, but people can kind of see the option of being able to click on it and being able to go to a specific window, regardless of being part of my GPT or not, right? So that's why it's important, Gavin, because the more you train your own mode and keep it within that, the more that can be shared. Whereas my actual GPT-4 can't be shared because it's just my chat, right?
Yeah, I've just added that to my sidebar as well now with Dali and all the other ones. So that I'll look at that. That's brilliant. Thank you.
No worries, no worries. And do jump onto that challenge. That will be you can do that. It doesn't take long at all. Most people did it within the hour of the day each day to be able to create it. So it was really kind of super simple to be able to do it. And probably day 1/2 will give you most of the stuff that you
What for
need.
the AI tool to be able to do it?
ChatGPT.
Oh, ChatGPT. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
great.
Um, Good stuff. Uh, Kaor,
Hi, Richard. How are
hello.
you?
Very good.
Thank you for the nice insights on how to win the LinkedIn game in 2025. I really like the ideas.
Pleasure.
I particularly like the idea on collaborating with small or micro influencers and
Mhm.
your follow-up tip on the questions like select someone who is 1 or 2 steps ahead of you. So those are some nice things I liked about this conversation. My question to you on that topic is what is your advice on getting them, onboarding with you successfully, especially when you are not consistently publishing content?
Well, first of all, consistently publish content, and it won't take long because they're only going to search back a couple of posts worth of content, right? So go back to, a few weeks. But then the second thing is just understand where you are in the ladder, right? So if you're not publishing content and you've got low impact, then just reference that and make sure you go to someone just slightly higher, as I say. But the other thing, go with a real structured plan. Hey, I really would love to do this type of interview. Say, go to them, say, I would want to interview you on a live thing. I want to do a big kind of splash. We can share your network, my network, and I'll highlight you and I'll make you the person for it and do the work for them. And you'll be able to get people, 2 or 3 rungs on the ladder if you make it feel like it's a really, hands-free thing for them to do. So that's how I'd approach that.
Got you. Thank you.
No worries. Good stuff. Well, look, guys, thank you. Just a final thing, just before we start going to the breakout rooms to close. If you look here in the chat, I'm going to put that profile audit. Thank you, guys, because we've already seen a number of you book in this morning to this. This is the last opportunity to get this link. So if you click on this now, it will go onto a different tab so you can book it in. I'm going to open up the breakout rooms. Please, with the breakout rooms, I'm going to leave it open till 10 for you guys to have a chat. I'm going to do about 3 people per breakout room. And please introduce you and your business and understand more about people in the room. And I hope it's been great. Thank you all so much for this year. It's been fabulous fun. I really, really enjoyed it. And I hope you guys have too. And here's to a great 2025 and a wonderful experience on LinkedIn. Rooms are opening now, and I'll see you all in the flip side. Cheers now. Bye. Have a good one, gang.